Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening everyone. Singh here. So I'm gonna do a ES futures review for the next week and sort of discussion what happened last week. So as usual, we're gonna start top on approach, looking for monthly, weekly, and coming back to the daily, and then we're gonna go back to the market profile nuances. So let's see what is happening in the monthly time frame at this point of time. As we are seeing here currently, the trend is up. Trend is up. We had discussion about this trend in our prior video that I've discussed with you guys last week. So as we can see, this is a monthly time frame. At this point of time, November was the initiation of sell-off, and we saw it could not pass through this balance, monthly balance, which was this, and this. Market tried to go inside the balance, but could not. Then from this 4,000 520 level, market bounced back as we were expecting this as a support. It was previous high as well, so market retested that level and bounced back. Very clear textbook setup. Yeah, so currently we are in a 2 months balance time frame. This is 2 months. This one is November, this one is December. Now what we are going to see, I'm going to draw a trend line, horizontal line here, and this one, right? So what we are currently seeing, there was a all-time high built in the Globix session, as I mentioned previously as well. Until market take out the Globix all-time high, there is not going to be any major pullback as people were expecting some, larger pullback because of XYZ virus situation and all that thing. Virus comes goes. That is not something that we should focus on. The technicals are very important, and as I mentioned, if there are some bears who are expecting a larger pullback, good luck to them. And it is not something that I'm saying right now. It was mentioned very clearly in my previous video as well. Right? You can go through that. So we have a Globix all-time high that has been built in the prior session. That market has to clear off, and market can sort of go further high and repair that, and then if market try to come uh, inside this high, then this could be a look above and fail situation. But if market tries to go above this high and sustain above, then market may have to find some sort of balance or a monthly balance break out of this 2 months balance. So this is on our weekly time frame, and then we have this long monthly time frame trend line as well. So we might see some sort of resistance at this point of time, as we have seen that market always go to this level and then goes for a little bit of pullback every time it try to hit, right? So here, here, and then if it tries to go somewhere here, we might see a pullback coming to the downside. Now let's look at a weekly time frame. So this is our weekly time frame. The same situation, the trend is up, and right now market is in a weekly balance as well. So how many weeks weekly balance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 weeks balance at this point of time. So market always goes from one end of the balance to the other end of the balance, and try to look other end of the balance if there is anything. If market do not find anything, then market goes to the other end of the balance. So as we have seen, this has been a very strong resistance, and all-time high has been built in the global session. So we would like to see next week for a repair of this all-time high and see if market can find a new balance area. So what buyers has to do? Buyer has to quickly trade above this, do a breakout, and then try to form a new balance here in this zone, and then we might see some sort of resistance on this trend line as usual. I really don't know where it might find a resistance, but if it start trading higher on this, then we might see some sort of uh, balance in this zone. But if market repair this global all-time high and again fall back below 4,700 level, let's say, then it has a potential to come back and revisit the other end of the balance and probably do some sort of exploration to the other end of the balance. But at this point of time, the eyes are on breakout of this. And we need to see how strong the breakout happens and how long this breakout can be sustained. Because if this has to be broken out, the market participant has to buy aggressively here, especially the buyers, and ensure that they do not let this price come below this level, right? Because otherwise, if price comes below this, the seller's interest will be to pull the price down, but buyer's interest is to keep the price right above this level and not let it come down. So this has been a trend, strong resistance as we are seeing this so far for so many days, and we are seeing a good Santa rally at this point of time, but not as we had expected. The expectation was to hit 4,800 by end of this year as part of Santa rally move, but the volume has been very slow. That means sellers are not really selling; the buyers are really participating aggressively. So that is the reason the volume is less. Let's look at a daily time frame. Daily time frame, we are seeing this is a bull nest, right? Market try to form a bull nest here. Resistance 1, resistance 2, now we are at resistance 3. So let's see if this can sustain above on this, as I've been saying this. Now let's go back a little bit here. You see here there has been a bull nest here. Market try to do the breakout of this, and then how strongly it moved. There was not I think there was only one red bar formed where the trend was breached on a daily time frame. Then the trend was very strong trend, and it sustained for a very long time, for more than a month. And then market went into a balance, and then the daily balance was broken by strong sellers. So currently at this point of time, market is trending higher on a daily time frame. We need to see how strong is the trend on coming uh, daily session by next week. So I hope it is clear to you guys. Now let's look at the market profile. So this is market profile. So what happened last week, right? Last week, first what happened, I thought that market could hold this. If it do not hold, then it likely to revisit this area. And I also mentioned that there has been a less volume has been traded in this zone, so market has a potential to revisit this level, and there were some key nuances that why market has to revisit this level. So market did a fake breakdown, and then there was a balance formation. I think the sellers who were selling, they were very weak sellers. I mentioned this also, that the sellers who were selling, they were too short in the market, and I think they went too short. If you see that it was trending lower, but here sellers were too short in the market, too short. And then the following day, in the overnight session, we saw market start trending higher, and then the next day, the market did a strong short covering rally, right? But when the short covering rally happened, what we saw that there were a lot of shorts got trapped in these zones. We are seeing here single prints. These are the single prints here. These are the levels where shorts are trapped. Here shorts are trapped. So we are seeing many places the shorts has been trapped. So the structure has been deteriorated very badly because not many participants has participated. It was more of a short covering rally. That's why we are seeing there has been a aggressive imbalance move to the upside with the gap up. Market opened with the gap up, and it continued to there has been a gap and go kind of situation, right? So this is gap and go. So one thing that traders should do, that whenever there is a situation of gap and go, they should be very very particular about not shorting gap and go, because that is very bullish move. So they should be very careful in shorting gap and go kind of situation. So we saw balance imbalance move keep on happening, short covering rally happened, and then we saw a spike up at the last 30 minutes of the trading session. And then the following day, overnight was sort of balanced. This was a kind of a bull flag formation, means market was in balance. And then the following day, market actually did a breakout of this balance and start trading higher. Again, market, a lot of shorts got trapped. I think they tried to short here and they kept getting trapped, and market moved further higher and made another spike to the upside. And then the following overnight session, market did not even come below the spike base. We had a spike base guideline, short below this. If price open and stay below, short it. If stays above, then be a long. If price is opening right above this spike top, that means it's very very bullish. So one has to be very careful. So what happened in the regular trading hour session? Market opened here on top of the spike top, again with the gap and go situation happened. Market only traded 2 or 3 tick right below the opening price and start trading higher. And there was a spike up again in the last trading hour, but then I think there was some sort of profit booking because of the weekend, and then price immediately came down. As we can see here, price came back to the downside and price closed here. So there has been a lot of longs accumulating their longs here, thinking that it could happen the same thing what happened in the prior trading sessions. It could break out. Even I thought so. I was trying to, taking some shorts and longs in this zone, and even I took a long here somewhere here. Thought that it could go all-time high and break out this in the last 30 minutes, but I quickly exited, and when it came down, I quickly scalped 4 points by shorting the move, and here I exited with 1.5 points loss. I could not trade this open. I was busy, so I could not. This was a very nice move for a gap and go situation, so I could not really trade this move. So now this is what happened last week. Now we got to see what are the potential trade opportunities for the next week. Now, as I mentioned, the trend is higher, right? If we see we have to watch how the overnight action is happening. If price start trading right above this level, this could further go up and do the breakout in the regular trading hours. I would be really happy if this gets repaired in the regular trading hours, and then we have some sort of clarity to see when this breakout happens. Uh, is big boys ready to pay for a higher price? I have a little bit concern that, coming back to the new year, if traders, especially the large players, are going to buy above this all-time high, from little bit longer term perspective, right? So this, some day traders might buy the breakout of all-time high, and market might go a little bit up and then do some sort of balance, and I would expect market to trade back within this large balance zone, as we are seeing here, large balance zone which has been forming here for many weeks, and come down and repair some of these single prints, repair the structure that we have underneath. It's always good to repair this because we have back to back to gap and go, and fundamentally nothing has changed in the market. But a lot of people talks that, oh, retails are, big boys are off and the retails are buying this market, and then big boys is gonna come and they're gonna shake out these weak hands. This is all bullshit nonsense. There is nothing called big boys are not present. they don't sit in the office and trade, right? They actually have the algos working for them. So they big boys are always there in the market. If big boys are not there, then the market will be not moving at all. So big boys are smart. They are making a use of these weak sellers, as I mentioned previously, who shorted the market. They squeezed them very badly, very nicely actually, with a very nice trend forming to the upside. Of course, the momentum traders are making a use of that. So momentum is very very strong in the market at this point of time. Market is trending higher on a low volume. So a lot of people say, "Oh, market is moving higher on a low volume. This will happen. That will happen in the market. This is not healthy." This is bullshit nonsense. Actually, the market goes higher on a low volume. Why it happens? Why market goes on a higher on a low volume? Because people are not selling. People are just buying. So there is only one side of transaction, right? So people are just keep buying, and there is a lot of short covering happening in the market. So market is going up. So when short covering is happening, uh, the selling is less, buying is sellers are closing their position and buying. The momentum traders are sitting on it, and there is a lot of buying back happening. It is as simple as that. So there is not a rocket science behind it. People need to understand one thing. So now next week, as I mentioned, let's see if market goes repair all time high, and what happens after that. One thing that we have to be very careful that taking a short position as intraday is very very risky. Either you have to see once this all time high repairs, uh, what happens, what market try to do here. If market is continue to make a trend higher, it is a risky to short. I think for me, uh, we have to stay with the trend as long as the previous low of the day does not break. If market opens, let's say next week, and then start trading higher, we have to stay with the trend. And if markets start coming below this high, which is 4731, then we have to be a little bit conscious, knowing that there could be a pullback to the downside as well, right? So, but I won't be really very fussy about it at this point of time. The trend is strong, but at the same time, we have to be aware of the fact there are two back-to-back gap, and there are a lot of single prints left behind where shorts are trapped. So we would likely to see these structures gets repaired before we see a large rally. Again, as I mentioned that I do not want to marry to these single prints. They may get repaired not today, tomorrow, after 1 week, 2 weeks, or after a month. It can happen anytime. It will happen only once the sellers, aggressive sellers, participate in the market. At this point of time, momentum buying is very strong, so we have to stay with the momentum buying as long as it's sustained in the market. So how are we gonna see the change? We're gonna see the change with the breakdown of the previous day low. That is gonna be the first trigger. But is it gonna happen on the first attempt? May not be, because it could be a possibility that the market comes and that's form a new balance on daily time frame, 2 3 days balance. If market, let's say, do a breakout of this, then do a trade 2 3 sessions here in this above higher prices, or 2 3 sessions, then we will see if the breakdown happens of that new balance, or breakout happens for the further higher to the higher side. I have no idea what happens. We just got to watch and trade what we see. I think I made my uh, plan very clearly. Just want to let you guys know that I have taken a short position in my swing account at 4689, with the expectation that one of these gaps will be filled, or some of these single prints might fill as and when opportunity presents. Uh, or it could be possible that market might repair this all-time high, Globix all-time high, form a balance of few days, then I might add on my swing short position, and then we see a retracement to the downside, right? This might happen, but as an intraday trader, I will take whatever is presented next to me, um, either the breakout of this all-time high, or look for a failed breakout and then take the short position with a tight stop loss, uh, expecting market to retrace back. I hope you guys like the video. If you like it, please hit the like button and subscribe the channel. And wish you very happy Christmas to everyone. I hope you guys make a lot of money coming 2022. Thank you very much.